This is Bill Newman, WHMP.
Welcome to Northampton Poetry
Wait.
Radio.
No. This is Rich Michelson. We have, I guess, the poetry of the line. That's what we're talking about today. The poetry on paper. Mo Willems.
Wait a second. It's a switch and bait.
Yeah, you're talking too loud for NPR.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and this is how I got on, because I know you guys want always poetry, but we're sneaking on here. There is not a more decorated or decorous and decadent illustrator working today. The new Dr. Seuss, that's what we call him, and the incredible Mo Willems is my guest. So we're going to be talking about your new show at our Michelson Galleries.
Oh, at least the important thing is we're not into self-serving NPR. That's the important
Shameless plug.
While we're on shameless plugs, we should note that Mo Willems' book, Waiting is Not Easy, has been on the New York Times bestseller list for weeks and weeks and weeks. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's always exciting to be on the list. We have a family rule. If I have 2 books on the list, I don't have to do the dishes that night.
So I thought it was a family rule.
I read the list with great anticipation every Wednesday, and I ask for the messiest possible meal.
Of course, he does dry on those days. That's what he's not telling you. So, I mean, not only are you an illustrator of children's books, a sculptor, a writer, but you also do fine art, if we can say, outside of your book work. And a couple of years ago, you took a year sabbatical in Paris, and we welcomed you back with a exhibit of drawings of Paris street scenes. Mm-hmm. And now that you've been back in Northampton for a year, we are opening tomorrow night from 6 to 8 as part of Northampton Art Walk, a exhibition of your drawings of, where do you go from Paris? Downtown Northampton.
That's
Nice.
right.
So
yeah, I'm excited. It's buildings and characters. I sit in cafes and draw characters that I've seen in Northampton. I think part of it is when I was in Paris, every time I would be with my Parisian friends, they would say, "Oh, Italy. Oh, you can sit in cafes and you can drink coffee and they have wine and you eat outside." And I would say, "But we're doing that right now." And some of the same thing happens here. You know, you're in Northampton. People go, "Oh, Paris, you can sit and get a cup of coffee and watch all these eccentric characters walk by." It's the exact same thing here.
So I just sat in a Greek restaurant on Main Street, Northampton yesterday with a bottle of wine and watched all the characters go by.
There you go.
Live the Parisian lifestyle wherever you are.
Exactly.
So do you always have a sketchbook with you? Are you always sketching?
I try to bring my sketchbook where I draw people with me most of the time. I take at least once a week, half a day of what I call culture time, which means something I can't really profit by. I'll either go see an exhibit or I'll sit and I'll draw and make characters and designs. So yeah, I try to as much as possible, and I think it's changed my book drawing as well. So it feeds on each other.
Change your book drawings because you're drawing faster, or because you're drawing different topics,
I'm making
subjects?
discoveries in terms of line, in terms of how I do things, because I'm drawing characters and I'm drawing humans, which I don't really draw all the time, but I discover little ways of working. It's hard to say. Maybe it's a nose, maybe it's an eye, maybe it's type of color. Right now I'm just starting on a project that is definitely informed by how I draw. It's sort of a looser, sketchier, more reporty style.
You're listening to a fake NPR with Rich,
as opposed to our usual real NPR.
Rich Michelson. My guest is illustrator, multi-talented artist Mo Willems. So a serious question, Mo. Spending a year looking at Paris rooftops, and now you've given us quite a bit of Northampton rooftops. When you're looking, what are the big differences? I mean, I think
the surprise for me was if you look up at the buildings in Northampton, they've got just the same sort of Baroque and classical details that you would see in a Parisian building. It took me years to look up. When I was a young kid, I moved to New York City, and the first thing that they did when I went to university is they sat all the students down and they said, "Never look up, you will get pickpocketed." And so for 10, 15, 20 years, I never looked up at buildings. And suddenly now you look up and they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. And I think we only look at the storefronts. But there was a time that this city, this little village, was built with great optimism, great hope. And there are the dates of the buildings, and there are extra details that don't need to be there because people built something that they felt they wanted to talk to us now. They knew that these buildings would be around and that we would be walking around and we could see them. And there's something optimistic about that. So for me, the hope is to look up, and my drawings, even my art, as it were, are relatively simple. The idea that you can inspire somebody then to go home and to draw their own rooftops would be really exciting for me.
And I have to say that after hanging the show, the first thing I did was walk outside and look up.
Right.
And start looking at the...
And the second thing I did was pickpocket Rich Michelson.
There we go.
It's
And you did very well for me. Very, very well for me.
And in honor of that, I'll treat you to coffee.
We'll do that. So while you were in Paris, of course, you write your books too. You also, I have to say, will be at the gallery not only tomorrow from 6 to 8, but November 8th, you will be part of our this year 26th annual illustration show. We'll be showing work from the 24th Elephant and Piggy book, and also work by your friend Tony DiDelisi from a longer book that you've written.
That's right. It's my first chapter book. I wrote it. It takes place in Paris, and as I was writing it, I realized that it needed a certain, I don't know what. I wish there was a French expression for that. And what that book really needed, it's a technical term, was pretty drawings. And my friend Tony DiDelisi makes amazing drawings. So we collaborated on this book. I worked a lot with him on the drawings. He worked a lot with me on the writing. And it's coming out next month in October. It's called The Story of Diva and Flea. It's about a small, very, very small dog that is the concierge, the gardien's dog in my apartment building, who was having sort of a torrid affair with a very large alley cat. It's for children.
I was going to mention this is kind of G-rated.
That's right. So, and also, because we're on our home territory here, the Bill Newman Show, I think we always need a scoop. We need something that nobody else knows. So
he said, by the way, everything that Richard has said, he's done in one breath. He inhaled. So that in and of itself is remarkable. That is
that keeps the
breathing.
That keeps the belt tighter in my wallet closer to me. I got Bill Newman sitting on the right here. And not only will you be here tomorrow, November 8th, but also the next spring, our Michelson Galleries, which is all Mo all the time, we will be having a retrospective of your 25 Elephant and Piggy books. Spring will be the last Elephant and Piggy book. You're closing out that chapter.
Why?
You've closed out.
What are you, George R.R. Martin? You're going to
I'm
whack
ending
them at the end?
Well, I'm not getting. They're going to get hit by a bus, driven by a pigeon. I'm not getting rid of the characters, but I am finishing the books. The last Elephant and Piggy book is called The Thank You Book. And I think that the rationale for it was ultimately you'd rather be the Mary Tyler Moore Show than Happy Days.
Right. Don't jump the shark.
That's right.
That's where that phrase comes from. Happy
That's
Days.
exactly it. So it's one of those weird decisions. I decided a while ago to do it. And, my publisher, when I was starting with the Elephant and Piggy books, would say things like, oh, maybe we'll do a couple more. Maybe we'll do a couple more. And then when I decided to stop, they were like, no, please, please don't stop. But most of my friends, when I tell them that I'm ending, and they'll, oh, that's a shame. And then I tell them that there are 25 books. They say, yeah, that's probably
yeah. Well, you stopped Knuffle Bunny after 3 books.
That's right.
And Brooklyn will be commemorating that shortly with a Knuffle Bunny sculpture in Brooklyn, New York. Boy, we're full of things here. That aren't you glad you listened to the Bill Newman Show?
Even I'm glad I listened to the Bill Newman Show.
Is that the scoop?
He's the scooper.
That sounds like a double scoop to me.
So we've got that going. But before all of that...
here is the scoop. The guys at Harold's have made elephant and piggy flavored ice cream.
Wow.
Is that true?
It is true. That is a scoop. A literal scoop. And I've always been so jealous of Monty that he has had sandwiches named after him. It's been a consistent problem for me. Every place I go, I'm desperate to have a sandwich named after one of my characters. But now I've got local ice cream.
That's pretty good. All right, I need to get an ice cream. Are you listening?
It would be
makers. Bart's, I'm looking at you.
It would be harder to have a sandwich named after Piggy, but let's move on from there. So again, Mo Willems tomorrow from 6 to 8 as part of Northampton Gallery Walk. please stop by our Michelson galleries. See Northampton through new eyes. I promise you that when you walk back on the street, you will see your fair city in a way you have not seen it before.
I'd like to follow up that, if I might, Mo. When you came back from Paris, you spent a year. You spent a lot of time looking at architecture and drawing and so on. Did you see Northampton in a different light?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I am super, super, super happy to be here. I'm here by choice. This was not, living in this village is not inflicted upon me. And like I said before, I think that there is a lot of optimistic architecture here from a lot of different styles, a lot of different times. I like being in a place that has history. I like being in a place that, in California, where my wife is from, if a house is from 1920, they put a museum in it.
This is our historic district, right?
Exactly. I like that feeling because I do feel that you never own anything. You're really borrowing it, and you are a steward for it. So I like being in a village that when I walk down the streets, not only am I seeing what other people have done, I know that generations after I'm gone, whatever is there will in a way still be there for other people to experience. That's exciting to be part of a continuum.
And also a lot of studies of the people of Northampton. Maybe you'll see yourself having been observed by Mo Willems.
I sincerely hope not, because they're not all flat.
So, again, thank you all. This is Rich Michelson. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another NPR. Bill Newman and Monty Belmonte will be with you tomorrow once again. And
Rich is taking it all the way home.
And stop by. How many seconds do I have?
37 seconds.
30. Oh, gee, we can start a whole new question. Gee, we could talk about another show coming up after this. So.
I think we're going to leave it there. You have been listening to Not NPR with Rich Michelson, Poet Laureate Extraordinaire on The Bill Newman Show. Mo Willems, thanks so much for coming in. Congratulations on the show.
Thanks.
We're so happy to have you back.
It's always great to be back. Take care, guys.